Is this the end for Tim Tebow? Herm, what do you think?
Well, Mike Westhoff makes great points. I hired Mike actually there in New York. He's a good football coach, and he said it right. He didn't make it a gray area. He said, "Why didn't we use the guy?" And I think at times it's very difficult if he's going to be a part-time quarterback, regardless of what you think. I mean, Skip made a great point. You got to build your offense around this guy, and you have to play to his strengths, whatever they may be. And if you just want to make this guy a 5-play quarterback during the course of a game, no. Not only do you mess up your offense, but both quarterbacks are in a little bit of a limbo. You can't do that. You got to play with one quarterback. And what is your system? I've always said this. You build a system around the quarterback. And if Tim Tebow, you decide he's going to be your starting quarterback, there are certain deficiencies he has, but there's certain positives that he brings to the table too. And most coaches right now are not willing to do that. Remember, Denver was pressed to do that because Kyle Orton wasn't playing well. Kyle Orton was a starter. Well, Kyle Orton all of a sudden wasn't playing well, and they said, we got to make a change. We got to do something. And then they changed the whole offense for Tim Tebow. So you have to be committed to that. If you're not, it won't work.
Yeah. I don't think he will be on an NFL roster next year because of what you said, because he's either a starter or nothing else. Like, you can't really bring him in as a backup because he's going to create controversy just by simply being there, just by the fact that you know he has a playoff win on his resume, just because you have to commit so much of your offense to working around his unique skill set. So it's tough to bring him in under fill-in purposes. And I just get the sense from him, especially after what has happened in New York, that he is going to feel he's very prideful. And I don't think he's going to walk into just any situation where he's just carrying a clipboard. He's going to honestly want a chance to start.
Do we know that? Because he's so quiet. He doesn't speak out.
No, but just by, if you believe any of the reports about how he refused to do any of the Wildcat plays and how he just saw himself as being used as some kind of gimmick for other defense to have to think about him and not necessarily that they were going to use him, I don't think Tim Tebow is going to get in that situation again. And because of that, I just don't see him in the league. If I were him, I know some people might think it would be degrading, but I would go through to the CFL and be able to show myself as a passer, and then that way you can convince somebody to come back and take a chance. I mean, he just – I said it at the time. I didn't like him going to New York because I think it would have been too difficult for him to upset somebody, an incumbent like Mark Sanchez, who had been to the AFC Championship games. Too much of a difficult position, and I think now he's going to pay the price for that.
We didn't get you on the record. You don't see him in the NFL.
Well, unless you're going to make him your starting quarterback and build your system around it. And I agree with you. I mean, and Tim Tebow, and Skip, we talked about this. We talked about this early when he got ready to go to New York. Eventually, Tim Tebow is going to have to say, enough. I don't want to be the gimmicky guy anymore.
Well, he has to say it.
Tim Tebow has to look at the coach in the face and say, you know what, no more gimmicks with me. I'm not the circus guy. I'm not the clown in the circus you bring out in the Big Ten.
And he's not going to
I want to play quarterback. And if they deny him the opportunity to play quarterback, then you're right. Go to the CFL. Go play quarterback. Go up there and hone your skills and find out.
That's right.
And unless he's willing to change his position, then you know what? He's going to be like this kind of guy. Well, Tim, you got to make that decision.
Okay, I want you to understand that I had it from a very good source that by phone, Rex Ryan promised Tim Tebow you will get a 50-50 chance at winning the job from Mark Sanchez. After we saw Rex's tattoo, you have to doubt it because you got number 6 on your arm, right? It's like, I don't know. So Tebow, I don't think chose New York for New York's sake. He chose it because, this is just my opinion, I think he looked at Mark Sanchez as a little mentally weak, a little on the edge of failing because he'd failed the year before. And Tebow, who is a competitor, said, I can go win that pretty easily. And he thought he had the shot. And Westhoff asked a great question. What the heck happened?
Right.
It was a publicity stunt by Rex Ryan, and I don't know if it goes up to Woody Johnson or not. Probably it does. They just wanted all the preseason back page publicity stolen from the defending champion New York Giants. That's what it boiled down to. And then they were going to do the circus act.
Yep.
And they're going to use him as the punt protector for Westhoff special teams. And they're going to use him at a little running back and a little slot back and a little receiver. And maybe every once in a while is that wildcat quarterback, which is a system he does not belong in.
Right.
He's spread option.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to go beyond what Westhoff said. If you stick Tim Tebow in a pure drop-back pro-style offense with no threat of the spread option, he's average. He's way below average. He is very limited, which is why I doubt your take on the Canadian Football League. They just throw it all over the lot. The field is wider and longer. I think he would fail in the Canadian League because that's not what he does. But I'm going to say it one more time. Tim Tebow, given the opportunity, you have to build around him and give him his offense, the same offense you're giving Russell Wilson and Robert Griffin and Colin Kaepernick. If you do that, he's not just good at it, he's really good at it. And he will win football games for you that way. How do I know that? Because I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Not for 1 or 2 games. I saw it for 13 games. I saw it 7-4 in the regular season off a 1-4 start by Kyle Orton. That's phenomenal. I saw him throw 14 touchdown passes to only 6 interceptions. He's not careless with the football. He's a great ball handler. He's low turnovers. And it is very difficult to defend Tim Tebow in this league if you let him do what he does. He drove Rex crazy. Where'd they go? 92 yards to beat the Jets on Thursday night in Denver? His QBR in the last 5 minutes of games was #1 in the NFL. You can take that to the bank. When you beat the #1 defense in a playoff game, you can take that to the bank. So my point is, could he win more games next year than half the starting quarterbacks in this league? I believe yes. But it's going to take guts.
Half?
Yes, half. I say half.
Half?
Yeah, because of the intangible. But you have to give him the
It's a
football
bold
team.
statement.
You can't do what you did to him with the Jets.
You make some great points, Skip, but here's the point. You've got 8 new coaches coming in. None of those coaches are going to bring Tim Tebow there.
No
So
way.
that's out.
No way.
Okay, so now where does he go? You look at the other teams. They're pretty much set at quarterback. Okay, so they know you bring him in, he's the backup guy. And here's the situation again. And I a little bit disagree with you on this one, Skip, going to Canada, because that same offense you want him to run spread, that's how they play in Canada. They play a spread offense. Well, guess what? Let him play the spread offense in Canada and make him throw the football.
In general,
that's part of it.
He is going to have to adapt to what the NFL is. I understand that we're seeing a little bit more of the spread option with RG3, Russell Wilson, but I don't even think for those guys that's a long-term solution.
5-year career.
Exactly. So you're not, at some point, and this is where this is on him as a quarterback and a competitor, you got to do what's being done. This can't be all about you. You have to do some of what is done in the NFL, what's customary, in order to succeed.
And you also have to be a little bit driven this way. It's about me now.
Right.
Not so much the team.
Right.
I want to play quarterback. Where can I go hone my skills where I can actually play quarterback for a whole year, play the position of quarterback?
And to some degree, I think this has hurt him throughout his whole career, is that he's always had coaches that were willing to design an entire offense around him. He's never had to adjust. Well, guess what? You're not entitled to anything. This is, there's a ton of quarterbacks fighting for jobs. You eventually have to bend your own skill set to what is customary in the NFL.
Unless you go prove it somewhere. That
Which is why.
That's right.
But I don't even think that it's a good long-term solution for him. I think he needs to become more traditional.
Okay, you know what? You're probably right. It's going to be tough for him to get an NFL job. But it's like free agency. It only takes one. And somebody's going to have big courage to do it.
And we know in this league is even though the jobs are taken, there's not a lot of great quarterbacks. The depth of great quarterbacks in this league is more shallow than people imagine. Take somebody get hurt, maybe. You never know what will happen, and he may become an option.
Well, you know what? Who's listening to this conversation? The next J.R. Smith, he's weighing in. He actually sent out a tweet. He says he agrees with everything everyone's saying. No, he basically said this: I wish someone would give Tebow a chance.
Thank you.
# darn shame.
Wow.
The adult version.
I'm surprised JR, after he took 29 shots last night, his right arm was enough that he could hit center.
Oh!